Today has been one of the most absolute cataclysmic days in terms of news stories. Daniel Penny acquitted. The capture of Luigi Mangione, the big eater. And this Diddy new aspect of this, plus Syria, that nobody is discussing, because it is the most barn burning of them all. It is without a doubt the most incredible story of them all. Bar none. Bar none. But tonight I want to talk first about Daniel Penny. That makes the most sense. Justice has been served. What does this mean? What happened? Also, this case where this, let's face it, this is the guy. They found him because somebody said, hey, that's the guy who saw him, who recognized him. Not the police. Police didn't, I mean, the police, they put out pictures, but I mean, it's called a grounder, and the police are going to take all this credit, and that's great. But it was somebody who said, hey, and I'm also worried about the person who turned this guy in, because these people are such sick bastards. It's another story. Brad Ruggies says McDonald's employee did the job of the FBI. So let's hope, Brad, that nobody does anything to harm him, because you know how sick these people are. It's like Arnold Schuster all over again. But my friend, first of all, let me thank you so much for being with us. Let me thank you for being a part of this thing of ours. It means so very much. I thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for being a part and for being there and going through this daily grind that we are in. It means so much to us. So sit back, make sure you are subscribed to Lionel Nation, because 87% of the people who watch are not subscribed. And also, sometimes people are unsubscribed for reasons I will never understand. But please, my friend, before we begin, this important word from our important sponsor. Have you ever wondered what happened to the legendary Chuck Norris? I recently saw a video he made, and I was shocked. He's in his 80s and still kicking proverbial butt and working out and staying active. And what's even more shocking is he's stronger, can work out longer, and even has plenty of energy left for his grandkids. Now, he did this by just making one change. He says he still feels like he's in his 50s, and his wife even started doing the one thing too, and she's never felt better. She says she feels 10 years younger. Her body looks leaner, and she has energy all day. Chuck made a special video that explains everything. And make sure you watch it by going to chuckdefense.com/Lionel or by clicking on the link below this video. It will change the way you think about your health. And once again, that's chuckdefense.com/Lionel. Click on the link in the description below to watch the video now. And you won't believe how simple it is. And just a reminder, the legendary Chuck Norris is a whopping 84 years old and yet has more energy than he ever has. He discovered he could create dramatic changes to his health simply focusing on 3 things that sabotage our body as we age. Watch his method by clicking the link in the description box below at chuckdefense.com/Lionel. My friends, today, I don't know about you, but I was so relieved, so happy, so beside myself, so consummately thrilled over the acquittal of Daniel Penny. I don't even know where to start with this, and I'm sure you felt maybe the same way. But when I heard this, I thought, I looked down at it was on X. I was doing my thing. That's my news. That's where I go for everything that is breaking. It's my initial point, if you will. And it could have gone so easily the other way. I want you to understand something. I have done this since I've been my lawyer since 1983. And in 1983, from now, think about that. My God, it's 41 years ago. I have heard people say everything you can imagine, everything about, well, I knew this, I knew that, and I knew this. And here are my rules. Number one, first, unless you are physically in that courtroom, and not only do you see the jury, in the case of a jury trial, or even a bench trial, but a jury trial, unless you feel it. I know it sounds odd to say this, but unless you feel it, you have no idea of how things look. You can listen to all the people you want and all the things that should be and shouldn't be. You don't know how it is. You don't know anything. This was an acquittal, unanimous. And the two jurors who wore the masks, you knew they were right. They weren't going to be too lefty. No. They didn't even find him negligent. The reckless part was gone. That was a manslaughter. They could have said, okay, he just was negligent. He didn't do any. He didn't mean to kill anybody, but he just left the. He left the hold on, and it was not a chokehold. Ladies and gentlemen, if there's two things I want you to remember, please do this. Number one, President Trump was never and has not been convicted of anything. Please listen to me. Please, 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 please. He has not been convicted of anything. I cannot say this enough. I cannot put it into any kind of words other than that. And number two, this was not a choke hold. Was not a choke. And this is by virtue of the Department of Justice itself. A choke involves the windpipe, the throat. I can't breathe. When you choke, when somebody has, they eat food or something clogs, in your throat. That's choking. Turn blue and you, that's choke. That's what this is. That's not a chokehold. That's not a chokehold. This is the guy who was in that cell. You know the one we're talking about? The guy we call him number 5 because his name begins with E. Remember that one? That was a choke. That was a choke. That was absolutely positively a choke. That was 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 a choke. Because of everything. The evidence, even hyoid cartilage, hyoid bone rather, gone. Thyroid cartilage, gone. Absolutely. That's a choke. This is not a choke. This, if you ever put the sleeper carotid restraint, it's just, do you see his face? There's never choking. There's never. When you put it on, it causes compression of the carotid artery. You just fall asleep. Now, later on, if you do this, if you hold it too long, it could be ischemia, it could be all kind of other things. But let me just say this again. It just maybe it's just me maybe I'm just being too priggish, to whatever you want to call it. It is not a choke by any stretch of the imagination. Nobody is choking. Never, 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 never. This was a travesty, an absolute travesty. Please, dear friends, please make sure you are subscribed. I have the link right here. Subscribe to my newsletter. I did a very thorough review today of Mr. Mangione. We'll get to that in a moment. And some other things as well. But anyway, so please make sure, because the newsletter is really like an email. It's like a Substack without the Substack. It's just my. Okay, let's go through this. There is nothing more terrifying than when you're waiting for that jury. It is something that you have never ever imagined. And it's obviously worse for the person who's actually, the defendant than the lawyer, but normally you're there. And we have a thing where they push one button, one means a question, means a verdict. Could be anything. That's a question. And whenever they have the question, all right, bring everybody. You got to hang around, bring everybody in, get the judge. They got a question. They come in, all right, bring the jury in. The question says, then they ask a question. Could you read back this, please? Could we? What's the difference between such and such? Okay. And the that's the verdict. And it is the most time stops. And whenever they, depending upon your jurisdiction, they will say things like, Madam, or foreperson, do you have a verdict? Yes. Very good. Would you please hand the verdict to the court officer or the bailiff? Bailiff brings it over to the judge. The judge looks at it, kind of to make sure everything is okay, make sure there's nothing's missing. And you're always trying to read the judge. How's he reading the judge? Is he just, forget it. It doesn't work. Same thing when the jury walks in. Is the jury looking at the defendant? If the jury looks at the defendant, that's good. It's an acquittal. If he doesn't, that's bad. That doesn't make any sense either. None of it makes any sense. There's none, no rules whatsoever. They'll come there. All right. And depending upon where it is, Madam Clerk, verdict, please publish the verdict. Publish. Caption in the case CR 122. People of the state of New York versus Daniel Penny. We, the jury, as the come on! You never realize somebody, come on, we have Bubba's Compton. As the count one, then we, the jury, would you guilty? Find the defendant, and they always stop. We find the defendant. What? Nobody ever says this. When you go to McDonald's, says, I'd like to order a quarter pounder. You don't say, I'd like to order a quarter pounder. No, but they pause because it's part of the instruction. There's a sign somewhere in the courtroom that says, make sure you pause to drive these poor back. And the prosecution is just as nuts as you are. And this prosecutrix, Daphne, oh my God. Oh dear God. This lunatic. Linda says, I was out of my mind with happiness, as was I. What that man went through, oh my God. And then they started, the Black Lives Matter. And we're going to, would you shut up once and for all? I have thoroughly, positively had it with Black Lives Matter, BLM, drop the L, it's a BM. That's what I think. It's a bowel movement. It's like, oh, would you shut up? You have absolutely no recognition, no status, no significance. You are a consummate joke. You're a strong-arm group of terrorists. And what you did to this country during that George Floyd, that thug who died either from overdose or whatever, you put this country through crap so that you could receive millions. And where that money went, we have no idea. This racism, this word, this is a joke. It's a consummate joke. You know it and I know. We've had enough of it. It's like with the pronouns. Nonsense. Black Lives Matter. Just stay home. And they bring the family. And look, I understand to an extent. But you understand something, excuse me, Mr. Whoever you are, Mr. Father of, I'm not even going to say his name, Jacko, more like Jack Off, the performer who used to be a performer. I'm so sorry. This is your son. I understand this. But your son was a thug who came into the F train and scared the bejesus out of innocent people who never signed on to this. For you and this demented son of yours to scare people. Now, I don't know how you figure this thing out, and I don't know what you want me to do. If you think that somehow, what, we should give you some kind of an award? Is that what this is? Is that what you're talking about? This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. It is absurd. Do you hear what I'm saying? It is absurd. Why is it? Oh, they also had Eric Garner's mother or a relative. You don't remember this case. Let me bring you up to speed on this. Eric Garner was a case. This was a guy on Staten Island. He weighed about 300 pounds, maybe. I'm not even sure. Maybe. And he decided that he was, what was it? Let me see. Yes, he was standing in front of a bodega or something, and he was selling Lucy's, these little cigarettes, little individuals. So the store owners called the cops, the NYPD, and said, would you get this guy out of here? He's scaring people. He's driving us crazy. He's selling. Would you get his ass out of here? So the police were summoned by the store owners, ostensibly racists, all of them. So they said, all right, let's go. He said, oh, no. You're not going to, I'm not going to leave. No. Eric Garner. Let me tell you what you do. When you are with a bunch of police officers and you tell the world, I'm not going to leave. I'm not going to listen to you. Guess what happens to you? They drop your ass. Because it's to send the word out. You don't do this. You cannot refuse a lawful command. It is that simple. Well, they tried to do that. So in the meanwhile, there was this police officer's name. I think he had an Italian name. He tried to get some kind of carotid restraint or something on. I don't know what it was. It didn't even work. The guy was in the ambulance. He was like talking. Then he had an asthma attack or something. It wasn't a choke. It was ridiculous. So they were going to stop chokeholds and all this stuff. Anyway, the guy did. Another thug, a thug who get involved with the police. You never hear this story. There was this nice black man. He was sitting on a park bench reading the paper. And this cop comes up, or this ex-Marine comes up and does a carotid restraint. It's the damnedest thing. You never hear that. No, it's always you were in the middle of being arrested. You were being arrested. And you were fighting, or you were resisting, or you were doing something, or you were acting like a goddamn fool, like a lunatic. So let me tell you something. I don't want to hear any of this about my son. Your son was a thug. He should have been behind bars, or he should have been in some kind of mandatory evaluation. He's a lunatic that makes our life a living hell, sir. And I'm tired of hearing about this. I'm sorry this was your son, but your son is vermin, or was. And if the same thing happened to you or your wife, and my son did it, and decided to scare the living hell out of you, you would say the same thing. So we as a society have had it. We've had it with this nonsense. Brad said, have you listened to Jordan Peterson's podcast? I can answer this question. No, I have not. Regarding Joe's pardon, our justice system would be a joke if it wasn't so important. Don was lucky. I don't know what that means. I never, ever, I can tell you this, listen to anything involving Jordan Peterson. Never. I have never heard a second of him. Nothing. I hear 1 millisecond of his voice, and I'm like a bug over a match. I've never been so allergic to a person in my life than him. Don't ask me why. I just am. Okay. But thank you. Now, what's happening right now is this prosecutor was a lunatic. These people come across as like, you're crazy. You're a lefty lunatic, obnoxious, unattractive, not physically, but your ideology is bizarre. It's bizarre. Nobody believes in this restorative justice nonsense. I don't know where you came out. I don't know what you've got about black people, white people. I don't know, but you blew it. This case, thank God it was an acquittal. 12-0. Unanimous. Even the two with the masks. Think about this. Not even the negligence, the recklessness, that was, you could say, well, that was kind of extreme, but not even this, not even the negligence. Oh, it's glorious. Glorious. So Alvin Bragg lost the Trump thing because that thing's going away, and now this. Now, listen to this. Listen to this one. The case of the fellow Luigi Mangione, big eater, Mangione, high tech, brilliant. Please read I give you a review of all the facts of the case in my email newsletter. Please sign up for it. Please, it's so easy. In any event, brilliant, University of Pennsylvania, brilliant. He's brilliant. Oh, he's so smart. He's a genius. He was a valedictorian of his high school, this prep school. Brilliant. He's brilliant, smartest person. He was a fan of Ted Kaczynski, had his own manifesto. Brilliant. Schmuck. What are you writing down things for? Why? To remind yourself? Do you want to be this guy? Why do you have this? Why do you have the ghost gun and this stuff on you? You've got everything. Where are you going with this? You've got a ghost gun with 9mm. What are you going to do? You're at McDonald's. You've got all this stuff on you. What do you want to do? And the best part is the employee, who called the cops. That was it. Nobody could find this guy. Now, guess who charges that case? Guess who's a prosecutor? Alvin Bragg. Alvin Bragg is a prosecutor. Isn't that great? Alvin Bragg is the prosecutor, and Alvin Bragg gets to, this is important, this is the no-brainer. This is a plea. There's not going to be any death penalty. He'll do life, or close to as you could get. This is cold-blooded. This is as cold-blooded. Read the story of this guy. They're going to probably do some type of, good luck with an insanity defense. That won't work because he knew right from wrong. He won't pass the McNaughton rule. No, this is one of these people. Remember, I told you it's going to be somebody kind of like an Antifa-like person. There was this group of people, the People's Action Institute. I never mentioned them, but people like that who protest and they, they're these new, they're like Antifa, who not the People's Action, but this guy, I said, it's going to be like Antifa. There was these people who not only believe in what they say, but they want to get violent. And there are these kind of squirrely looking people who don't necessarily exude and evoke and emit the notion of the wild, maniacal, homicidal lunatic. But notwithstanding that fact, remember I told you that. I told you it was be somebody like that, like these two people. One who was a lawyer who was going to throw a Molotov cocktail into a cop's car and burn them to death. This is crazy. Nuts. Absolutely crazy. Okay. Question. Is he crazy? Yes or no? Is he crazy? Yes or no? Think about this. I want your opinion on this. We're going to be putting on a defense, theoretically, for him. And I'm going to ask you a question, whether you believe he was crazy. Would you think we would have any success in an insanity defense? I mean, after all, for you to do this, you got to be crazy, right? Right? Don't you? You got to be crazy to do this. Do you believe he was crazy? Anybody? Come on. What do you think? No? No? Depends on his lawyer. Is he from a rich family? Very rich family. His grandfather, I believe, put together this big resort or something. Is he crazy? Come on, is he crazy? What do you think he's going to do? He's going to. The answer is no. No, no way. And the reason is, first of all, he is lucid. He's like, hey, how are you? Knew where he wasn't walking around mumbling, wasn't talking about, didn't hear voices, was very lucid, kind of let the flirt, look at him. Here I am. Here's my, I work out. He'll have a lot of time to work out in prison. Yeah. He wrote his Goodreads, once they found him. Oh, then they found his Facebook. He had a fake ID. And by the way, can they prove it? Well, the ID that they had on him happened to be the ID that was used, interestingly enough, at the hostel. Uh-oh. Isn't that interesting? The guy from Old Bridge, New Jersey, or whatever the hell it is, happened to be the ID that was found in him. That's number one. Number two, the ghost gun that was made with the silencer or the suppressor happened to match. I believe it's the same one. He's got the same weapon. What? He's got the weapon on him. They do a ballistics check. That's it. If you don't have the weapon, you can say, it's not me. Think about this. No gun. It's not me. Were you there? I was there. Anybody see you? No. No. Think about it. Think about it. If you don't have the weapon, is this your fake? Yeah, it's my passport. Were you at the hostel? Were you at the hostel? Yeah, I was there. I was there. Well, how do you prove the shooting? That look like you? Sort of. Did you shoot him? No, I didn't shoot him. Do you have a gun? Of course I don't have a gun. No, I don't have a gun. What would you have? You'd have the license and you'd say, ladies and gentlemen, this is the killer. Why? Because this man here had on him the license from a guy who went to a hostel. And what exactly? Well, he was there. Well, what did those people from the hostel see him shoot anybody? No, but he was there. And they were going back and forth. Is that the guy who shot? No. Could there have been somebody else? Could be. I don't know. I didn't shoot anybody, but he had the gun. He had the gun. And that's it. I mean, it was so funny. They were looking for the gun. They were looking for the gun in the pond, in the water. Where is the gun? Where is it going to be? Well, what good does the gun do? What good does the gun do? What's the point of the gun? If they find the gun in the water, he said, I didn't have the gun. I don't have it. It's not mine. Yeah, but there was a gun. Well, I'm good. I'm glad you found the gun. That's not my gun. That's not my gun. See, that's the thing. Now it's going to be even. You got the gun. You got everything. You got everything. It's the most important thing in the world. It's the most important thing in the world. Now, ladies and gentlemen, stop for 1 second because I've got some big news now. You ready for this? The good news is simply this. I told you about this deal of a deal. If ever there was a time for you, seriously, bruh, literally, bruh, for you to get or to go to preparewithlionel.com is now. They called it before. You ready for this? They called it the Black Friday deal. The most incredible deal I've ever seen in my life. The most incredible deal. 4-week food supply for $187. 4 weeks, 28 days worth of food, 2,000 calories a day, 12 essential vitamins, minerals, a whole bit, kept up to 25 years, 16 different food varieties, breakfast, lunch, dinner, breakfast, a whole bit. Drinks, sealed in heavy-duty 4-layer pouches in water-resistant buckets. 1 month, $187. This is a joke. This is a joke. This is, you should buy multiples of these. This is a month, 28 days, okay, worth of food. People can't even go 2-3 days. It's here. There it is, right there for you. So I thought, okay, how long are they going to keep going with this, Black Friday? Guess what? It's the same deal, but they call it, what they call it now? Our Christmas deal. Now's the time. So good news. Hurry up and do this now. Preparewithlionel.com. I've been talking about this for a while. This is the best one I've ever seen. This is incredible. $187 for a month. Unbelievable. And one more thing. You know what's coming with this one, my friend. MyPillow.com. Right now, as we speak, it is 16 days until Christmas. You're going to go to MyPillow.com. You're going to put in promo code Lionel. You're going to buy everything there. And you're going to make your friends and family the happiest people you could ever imagine. Okay? Okay. Very simple. Now, let me put this into, by the way, Ted tried to transition back in the 60s. Yeah, Ted was, remember Ted, I believe I think he was MK Ultra. They were doing some LSD experiments. If I recall correctly, he might have been himself. Whitey Bulger, certainly. Now let's go to the next one. The next story, which is the most fascinating. And people are going crazy. I did Sean Atwood's show today, my friend, for an hour and a half. And Sean Atwood is absolutely in love with the Diddy case. Loves it. And I said, okay, I don't know what the big deal is, but let me try to explain this if I could. Number one, and listen carefully, and this is critical. They amended the complaint to add Jay-Z to this. If Jay-Z is smart, he says, I'm not going to settle anything with you. This is 24 years ago. I don't know what you're talking about. A 13-year-old girl then, who's 37, who's going to come in and testify? What is she doing? She tried to sneak in. She went to limo drivers at the age of 13. I don't know what you're talking about. You're trying to shake me down. You just cough money. I ain't going to pay you a dime. He's got a great lawyer. Let's tee it up. Let's go to work. It's unbelievable. This is one of the best cases ever. And what's going to happen with this ultimately is that people are going to say, I've just had enough of it. Had enough of the whole thing. And the question is, Sean's going to say, excuse me. Or Jay-Z, excuse me. Jay-Z's going to say, now, Diddy was in the room too? Is that what you're saying? Diddy, did you remember this? Never happened. Now, Diddy's looking at life in prison. He doesn't have really anything to lose. Ask him. Diddy, I didn't say anything. And who's this undisclosed woman? Who is this undisclosed woman in the room at the time? Where is she? And why is she undisclosed? And did you offer her an immunity deal? Because she's not explaining what's going on either. She's not discussing this, talking about it. So my question to you is simply this. I say bullshit. Tee it up. Let's bring it on. Go ahead. Because people are just starting to get sick of this case. It's like, this is ridiculous. I mean, what do you, and I've already been through this. We've talked about this at great length. So 3 deals last night. Jay-Z finding this person of interest. And by the way, remember, and of course, Penny, one more thing about this. God bless the police, but they didn't do anything. I mean, they had drones. They had put some pictures out. They had a press conference. It was a guy at McDonald's that says, hey, that's him. There was a fellow in Tampa. There was a guy who was I remember a while back. He was a murder suspect, and there was a police officer. I think a police officer at a McDonald's eating, and one of the workers came over. This is in Tampa. Excuse me, yeah. This guy over there tried to sell me a gun or something about that. You might want to check him out. And in the bag was the gun of the thing, and they arrested him. And they're saying, "Thank you, Tampa police, for this, whatever." Years ago, there was a case on the Upper East Side. It was a dry cleaner, and it was some event, a shooting, a robbery, something, but there was blood involved. And the bad guy, the suspect, went up and put like a palm print, fell or did something. And there's this handprint, on the. So they called the latent print people, and they go, "Here it is." And they ran. He goes, "Hey, this guy apparently jumped a turnstile," which is why broken windows are so important. They found the guy, and they said, "That's the one who did it." Okay, great. So guess what? Police, it was a grounder. They found it, and they said, "Oh, there you go. That's it." This is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. And they went crazy saying, "And the police are doing this, and the police are the greatest of police." Okay, fine. But here's the deal. God bless the police. Sometimes they find people, but this guy, Mangione, is a schmuck. He's carrying the gun with him. He should have no guns. Why does he have anything? He's got a passport. He's got the fake ID. What do you need this for? If you found him and you say, "Hi, is this it? That's me. Were you with the youth hostel?" "I sure was." Maybe he was. Maybe he wasn't. You're under arrest. For what? For the murder. Murder of who? I wasn't there. I didn't go. That's not me. Yes, it was. No, it's not. Is this you looking at that? Who's this? Is this you in the car? I was in a cab. Okay, fine. Yeah, it's me in a car. What does this have to do with anything? Is this you lowering your mask, kind of making eyes as somebody's smiling? Is it? Yeah, that was me. What about it? It's that gun. If the gun that they got off of him matches the bullet that went into him, that's it. It's done. A silencer, and the guy had a silencer. I mean, come on, Mr. Genius. What do you need the gun for? Lose it. Get rid of it. What are you going to do? Shoot somebody else? Where do you think you're going? You're going to heading back? You're in Altoona, Pennsylvania. Where are you going? Where do you think you're going to end up? You're going to slip back into society? Come on, Mr. Genius. What are you going to do? They're not going to find you? And what did you accomplish? You shot one guy because of what exactly? How do we know why you did it? There's one thing about Ted Kaczynski. He wanted to tell you. See, if I'm doing something and I'm shooting people or killing people randomly, and it's because of some reason, and I don't let you know, I'm wasting my time. Nobody knows what I'm doing. They don't even know it's me. If you're going to go embark on that, you're going to have to let people know, here's why I'm doing it. And guess what, Mr. Genius? Same thing for Kaczynski. Nothing ever changes. You're doing it just because you're mad or pissed off. He has some kind of a neck problem or some kind of this is, he's not crazy. He knows right from wrong. He obviously was trying to get away. What were you getting away from? From what? Because you knew it was wrong. Yes, interesting. Now watch what happens to the person who turned him in, because these sick bastards out there are nuts. So that was something. Thank God we got this figured out, at least for the time being. And even Alvin Bragg can't screw this up. This is a no-brainer. Thank God for Penny, and I hope they remove once and for all this prosecutor Daphne and her restorative justice nonsense. We don't need this in this. This is everything has changed now because of Trump. Everything has changed. And let me also tell you something. Please do me a favor. Make sure you try to get a hold of, listen to one of the best discussions ever is Judge Napolitano, and I think it was Scott Ritter on Syria. Absolutely brilliant. Brad Opland says, the real question, does this murderer's father have power like a certain politician who pardoned his son? As I said, our justice system is a bad joke. Well, listen, Brad, and I thank you for that. There's a lot of folks out there, believe it or not, who are in prison, who are caught, and our system works. It really does. Daniel Penny, do you think the justice system works? I think he shouldn't have been charged. Definitely, but he was acquitted. There are more people, more bad people are caught, packed away. You never hear about them. So it's not that bad. Also, who gets the reward? Who gets a reward? Do we ever find out do people get rewards? Do they ever do a story like, I don't know if you want people to know this, but the people who say, yeah, I called 1-800-TIPS and I got my reward. How do we know? And is it taxable? One of those questions. In any event, dear friends, thank you immensely. Thank you so much. Also, don't forget, follow us on, this is important, at Lionel Legal. Did you know that? Are you aware of that? Are you familiar with our show called Lionel? Excuse me. Lionel Legal. I want to give you this right now. And I want you to do me a favor. Every single one of you, I want you to go. I want you to sign up. Because this is the sister, so to speak. This is our companion website. Not website, YouTube channel. Lionel Legal. Did you get that? Did you get what I just said? I want you to go there right now. I want every single person to do that. Because we want to spread the word on as many platforms as possible. We want to own this. We want to own the truth. Okay? All right. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your kindness. Thank you, Jonathan Kiner. Thank you, sir. Jonathan was very kind with that. Mr. Opland, excellent questions. DB, thank you as well. Linda Hazlitt and Mr. Rung, thank you. We got Brad Rung and we got Brad Opland. We got the Brads, the mighty Brads. One more time, make sure you go to this channel right there. Sign up for that. And make sure you sign up for the newsletter or that email. There's one that's out now. You can if you go back, if you get one, you can go back to all the other priors. And there's one tomorrow at 6:30 in the morning on the kind of a review of everything that happened. All right, dear friends, have a great and a glorious and a wonderful night. Please be good. God bless America. God bless President Trump. Thank you for watching. And don't forget these words. The monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya.